Welcome to Finding God in the Times of COVID. Today is November the 28th. And today's reflection is going to be a sort of a thinking out loud. And if you want to get back to me on it, I'd love to hear what your thoughts are. I've been struggling because as a nation, we are struggling so severely with COVID, with infection rates, mortality rates. And ours are so much higher, even per capita, compared to other countries around the world. And I found myself wondering why that is. And I understand there are many answers to the question. But when I boil it down, it seems to me that a root of it is this question of freedom, around which our country was founded, freedom of, as the amendments to the Constitution say, freedom of assembly or freedom of speech, freedom of the press, freedom of religion. All these claims of we are free. And I can't help but wonder if part of the complication of our struggle with COVID, which we could be in a very different place on had we made different decisions as a country earlier. I wonder if they're related to freedom and how we understand freedom. I was reading this morning Howard Thurman's book, Deep is the Hunger. And he says, some years ago, Mahatma Gandhi wrote a letter to Muriel Lester to encourage her in her work on behalf of India's freedom. An excerpt from this letter said, "Speak the truth without fear and without exaggeration, and see everyone whose work is relative to your purpose. You are in God's work," Gandhi said. "So you need not fear men's people's scorn. If they listen to your requests and grant them, you will be satisfied. If they reject them, then you must make their rejection your strength." This quotation, Howard Thurman goes on to say, reveals much about the spiritual insights and understandings of Mr. Gandhi. So, since in so many ways our country was founded on this freedom from oppression, and of course, ironically, our achieving some degree of freedom from oppression was built hand in hand with our oppressing the first peoples of this country and then using systems of oppression to uphold our own sense of freedom. But as part of the complication with COVID, that so many people feel oppressed by health guidelines. I mean, Paul says in Scripture, everything is lawful for me, but not everything is beneficial. So I wonder, again, boiling it down, is it about our perception, our sense of freedom, and our being so accustomed to being free in the ways that I interpret it or believe it or want it or desire it or think of it as my right, that we lose sight of the greater good of what's beneficial? You shall know the truth, Jesus is quoted as saying, and the truth shall set you free. How are we holding on to our freedom? Blessings on your day.